YouTube, what's good? It's your boy, Agnel, encouraging you to try something new. Today, we are going to react to a video from Hamza. This guy is pretty big on discipline and, consistency and, encouraging other people to become better men. And this is kind of the content that I've been binging for a long time, ever since I was like a young, 19, 20-year-old kid on my own. Once I moved out to Arizona and life wasn't going the way I wanted to go, I started looking up videos like this because I had no guidance. Feel me? Had no guidance. So I had YouTube was my guidance. I'll keep it 100% with y'all. So I'm gonna react to videos like this a little bit more often, and I'll let you know what I think about what's being said in these videos, because I've followed a lot of these steps that these YouTubers kind of put out there for people like me to consume, and I followed it. You know what I mean? I actually implemented a lot of these steps in these videos that I've watched, and there's some very good things that came out of it and some bad things. And so I'll give you my perspective on um whatever I see in these videos, and then hopefully you guys can relate to it and learn something from it. That's the goal. That's the idea. So without further ado, Hamza, 6 bad habits keeping men weak. And before we start, I'm gonna give y'all 5 seconds to hit that subscribe button for me. I greatly appreciate it. Starting now. Thank you very much for hitting that subscribe button. Let's get into the video. Bing, bing, bing.
And now just look at his life. He's a young man with no energy, no drive, no male aggression. He's a wimp, a coward, a pussy. He obsesses over girls that don't even know that he exists. They never even message him back. 0 matches per day on Tinder. It's a sad reality being a weak man.
This I could relate to for sure. I did feel like a loser a long time ago. I always had like friends and stuff like that, but just I wanted to get girls. I'm not gonna lie, and I wasn't good at it. I'm still probably not really good at it, but I'm getting better. We're getting better. But anyways, going back to the video, he's saying no matches on Tinder. He's a loser, this and that. There could be a few reasons why dudes feel this way, and I think hormones play a very big role in it, and I do think also social media plays a role in it too, because it kind of keeps you comfortable and complacent, and it kind of stunts you exploring life and getting out there and experimenting with life in general. So I get where he's coming from, but I don't want to equate having a whole bunch of matches on Tinder with success. But I understand where he's coming from at the same time. Let's keep going.
Adonis. What kind of man do you think Adonis is? Weak or strong? Neither. Adonis is the ultimate man, but he isn't lucky. He wasn't born like this. Adonis developed himself as a young man through doing the right, good habits. He stayed away from the instant gratification activities that he saw other young men indulging in. There's 6 main bad habits that are keeping you weak, and if you watch till the end of this video, I'll explain to you a way to overcome them much easier than everything else that you've tried so far. The first 2 bad habits we're going to couple together, and they are social media and porn. And it's interesting that I can couple them 2 together, isn't it? Because it's pretty much the same thing. Social media is literally softcore porn these days. If you go onto Instagram, you see ass. If you go onto TikTok, you see ass. If you go onto YouTube, you see like sexy motherfucker in a bathrobe. Honestly, I was just gonna make this video as like one of those clickbait, like a shorter video, and it's gonna get lots of views and like, alpha M kind of video. The top 7 bad habits to number 1, porn, and number 2. But wait, first a moment from our sponsor, the timeless piece. Like shut the fuck up. I was just gonna make a basic ass video to get some fucking views, and as soon as I said like social media is pretty much just like porn, I just felt fucking sick. I fucking hate what the world is.
And you know what? It kind of is, because even recently, like, I'll be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and then you'll just see like random chick, butt cheeks out. You know what I mean? And if it's not bare butt cheeks, then she's in very tight leggings, and you could see everything nice and clear. Um, as much as it looks great, like, in my head, I'm just like, why is this popping up on my feed so much? Obviously, the algorithm is working the way it's supposed to work. And so I kind of got a hint from somebody that I seen on Instagram or some shit like that. And he said to, report whatever you don't want to see. I don't want to see ass cheeks all the time. I like ass cheeks. I mean, I like what I like. Feel me? But going back to the video, if you constantly keep looking at it, like you said, it's soft corn. And especially me now, like, I'm done with watching that stuff. It's been like maybe 2 years since I've watched that. And just me scrolling on Instagram and looking at all these girls kind of do their thing with the soft stuff. It's pretty much the same thing. You can pretty much learn to tweak your algorithm so you don't keep seeing the soft stuff all the time. It's a stunt to your development as a man, for sure. And especially if you are a corn addict, it's not good. It's not good. You want to get rid of it for sure. So yeah, let's keep going.
Come to, bro. Honestly, I fucking hate that my generation of men are so consumed by like this modern technology that's so bad for them, and it's so fucking hard to pull a young man out of this.
That's
This is
facts.
my work, this is my purpose, my mission. It gives me a great deal of fulfillment. But I wish it wasn't like this.
It's so easy to get stuck into the doom scrolling on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm currently trying to stop. I've been on social media since I was like freaking 12, 13 years old. MySpace, Bebo, Facebook, you know what I mean? So and it's hard to branch off of it. So there's sometimes like I'll take a break and just get off of it for 30 days or 60 days. And I've gone a pretty long time with it, maybe 3 months, and then you get back on it, you get sucked right back into it. And it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. But there's someone that said that, like, you spend Americans spend on average like 4 to 5 hours a day on social media or something like that. If you could take that time and put it into something else, and like, you'd be unstoppable. But like, it's always there. You know what I mean? It's always on us, and it's just so easily accessible. It's so hard to branch away from it.
When you overindulge in social media, which it's extremely hard not to do, like these platforms have been made to be addictive. They've been made to like put you in a trance-like state where you can't even remember, like, what time it is, how long you've spent. You think you've spent like 5 minutes watching YouTube shorts and an hour passes by. The same with TikTok. If you only want to keep it to that very practical level, you're losing a lot of time to social media and porn. But I think it's what it does to like the rest of your life, your perception of the world, especially because of how sexualized social media is, and porn in itself is just fucked. I said once, I gave this analogy, which you might be interested in. What happens when you're watching porn in like your evolutionary caveman kind of brain? Because our brain hasn't evolved. Evolution takes millions of years, doesn't it? So our brain hasn't really evolved. We've only had modern technology for like 10, 20 years. Our brain hasn't evolved for this. So what does our brain think is happening when we are watching porn? It thinks it's real. Of course, there's a part of our brain, like the most advanced part of our brain, which of course understands, yep, this is porn, and I'm actually a loser. I'm actually just looking into a screen. But there is like an evolutionary part of our brain, like the brainstem, the oldest part of our brain, caveman kind of brain, which literally thinks it's real. It thinks that you have such a variety of sexual options. I know this is going to be offensive. That part of your brain doesn't realize that you are a fucking loser, that you are the one looking into a screen. So this part of your brain, this like caveman part of your brain, thinks that you are a winner. It thinks that these women have submitted to you. They're sexual. That's why your dick gets hard. And when you bust a nut, it's like, oh wow, like we've achieved the height of male life. We have successfully fulfilled our sexual strategy as men, which is, to spread our seed to like many, many different women. If you achieve that ultimate goal of male,
that's an interesting take. Spread your seed to many women. As much as people will say, oh, it's in our biology to do X, Y, and Z, like, I get it. There we one nut has how many billions and billions of sperm cells that can impregnate the whole world. Like I get it, but in reality, in my opinion, in my head, I think monogamy is more challenging and more disciplined. And in a way, I think it makes you a better man sticking with one female as opposed to jumping from here to here to here. I could be biased because I've never had the opportunity to have multiple women wanting to have kids with me and stuff like that. But just thinking of it from a discipline perspective, like just sticking with one and being committed to one person, I think it's more honorable in my opinion. But I also think the other way is like it's like you have to build yourself up to a certain status to have a whole bunch of women wanting to procreate with you and you enjoying the fruits of your labor, I guess you could say. But yeah, like pros and cons to both, but I just think sticking with one is definitely more honorable, more disciplined like.
life. What would be after that? Well, rest, recover, get some like high fat, high processed
Mhm.
foods, go to sleep, feel lethargic. You don't need to work. You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to like work out, be productive. You don't need those things because you've just achieved the height of male life. That's what happens when you watch things like porn and you go on social media. A part of your brain just thinks that you are like the ultimate fucking legend. And because of that, it strips you of your motivation to go and
Right.
do the things that would actually build you up to be the kind of man who can attract the women that you actually want. The third habit that keeps
Mm.
you weak is video games, and this is
Controversial.
controversial. It's
Yes, sir.
controversial to literally
Controversial for sure.
say video games are bad because all these nerds will disagree with me and they'll say, "Oh, but actually, for what? Shut the fuck up." Any
Mm.
argument that you have against this, that video games actually help you to be shut the fuck up. They actually help you to be creative. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. The reason why video games are fun is because you are getting like this virtual stimulation of the real thing that you wanted. You never wanted to fucking level up in Call of Duty. You never cared. Like, we evolutionarily don't care about prestiging in a fucking video game. We care about climbing up the ranks of men around us. We care about obtaining status and power and having brotherhood in our lives. And video games manipulate those core masculine desires that we have and make you invest into the game instead because it's so much easier getting that status, that level up in the virtual world where there's no real discomfort than there is to actually go outside in the real world and level up there.
So he has a point there. Um, Imagine like you're comparing Call of Duty to real life. Like you leveling up in Call of Duty doesn't make you better. It just makes you better at the game. You know what I mean? And I could understand people that like stream and make money off of it. Like, okay, that's cool. That's a cool way to make money. But learning in real life how to handle guns and how to, you know what I mean, how to use tactical combat skills in real life. I think that's way, way more honorable. One, that's like again, if you know how to shoot a gun and you've actually shot a gun and shot a sniper and all that stuff, it's way, way cooler. You know what I mean? It's way cooler. And in terms of like safety and protecting yourself and your loved ones, like I think taking those Call of Duty skills and bringing it to real life would be a way better investment than just playing Call of Duty all the time. Um, and that's kind of like another thing is with video games. I used to spend hours on video games, but it was also a cool way to connect socially with my friends as well because there would be a good 4 or 5 of us in a party, and we're all playing the same game, and we're all in this virtual world playing the game, and we're all just joking, laughing, talking about life, this and that, like cool. You know what I mean? And that's one of the main reasons why I still have a PS4. But I also didn't get an upgrade and get a PS5 because I knew it was going to be very, very time consuming for me to sit down and actually play the game with people that I care about. You know what I mean? My brother keeps pressing me, yo, get a PS5, get a PS5. We could play excuse me, we could play Warzone, all these things. I'm like, bro, it's a time killer. My schedule today is very like structured and it's helping me level up. But me playing video games for 2 hours is gonna destroy my whole schedule. Like I only have a little bit of free time on Sundays to play video games, and I wouldn't even want to spend that 2 hours playing video games because I could be putting that 2 hours into something else. And that's what I'm trying to currently do. You know what I mean? Just put the 2 hours into making YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I think in general, video games, big time consumer. And you're not really getting anything in return as you're playing the video games, unless you're just disgustingly nasty at Call of Duty or whatever, and you're streaming and you're making bread. By all means, make your bread. But again, there's a million ways to skin a cat, and I'm not gonna use video games to do that. That's just me personally. Kudos to everyone that makes money making doing streams and playing video games. That's cool, but I'd have to side with Hamza on this. Like, it's too much time consumption.
Day in, day out, after months, years, a decade, you've invested so much of your time, your mental energy, that it becomes so hard to take a step back because now your life in the real world is so much worse. You're a fucking gamer. So here you are in the video game world, you are a warrior, a dragon slayer, prestige 7, and you've got the gold fam-ass gun on fucking Black Ops. You can tell how long I've not played video games for. Like, the last Call of Duty I played was fucking Black Ops 1.
Facts.
The more of a legend you are in the virtual world, the more of a loser you are in the real world.
That's a controversial take right there. I think there's people that can balance both. Yeah, that's controversial. I think there's definitely people that could do both, be very well versed in the real world, and then they just sit down and play 2K for a few hours. Yeah, I think it goes both ways. I think for some people, but to kind of generalize it, controversial. I can't say yes, can't say no, because I understand where he's coming from.
The fourth habit that keeps you weak, and I promise that you are suffering from this: fucked up sleep, poor sleeping pattern. You thought all of the things I was going to say was just going to be like, oh yeah, like porn and video games, bro. Sleep is the fundamental thing that you need to improve on, that the majority of young men need to improve on.
This is something I absolutely need to improve on for sure. For sure. If I get 6 hours or less of sleep, the day is shit for me. It's horrible, horrible. And just poor sleep. Like, you're not even, when you sleep like shit, you're just literally on autopilot trying to fucking function and get through the day. And it's like you can't even really enjoy the day and go through the day and process the day because you're so tired. You're just like so focused on, all right, I just want to get home, just want to get home and sleep, just want to get home and sleep. And then when you actually do get home, you start scrolling on social media. Keep scrolling. Hours go by. You got all this blue light hitting your eyeballs, and now you can't really fall asleep. Next thing you know, it's 12 o'clock. You got to be up at 5 to go to work. And then and it's horrible. And then there's no structure in your life. And the poor sleep is pretty much controlling how your days go. So I'm really trying to lock in on sleeping a lot better. Like, I snore, I grind my teeth, and I have a poor sleep pattern. All these things are hindering me from waking up in the morning like, I'm a little tired, but hit the snooze, drink some water. Okay, we're ready to go. That's where I want to be in terms of having energy in the morning and sleeping well. And it's hard. It's very, very hard. So let's keep watching.
I want to ask you a question. I'm going to see how smart you really are.
This is facts.
How many hours of sleep do we need per night? Yeah, everyone says like 7 to 8 or whatever, right? Let's say 8. If you want 8 hours of sleep and you need to wake up at 6 a.m., what time do you go to bed? Answer that question right now. Answer that fucking question right now.
So 6 a.m., 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 11, 10 o'clock. So the time you need to be in bed trying to wind down, realistically speaking, 9 o'clock. Like you have to plan 1 hour before um the exact time where you think you should fall asleep. That's the time where you kind of dim all your lights in your room, you relax, you do some meditation, some breathing, you read a book, you get something to kind of just decompress, wind down, and then you naturally just fall into that sleep state. And then you got that 8 hours of sleep. You wake up nice, energized, refreshed. And I've experienced it before. It's amazing, but it's always just something getting in the way, whether it's just I have to prep food for the next day or something like that, or I'm scrolling on social media and time flies by, and now there's a lot of light in my eyes, and I can't fall asleep that quickly. Little things like that always gets in the way of me planning my sleep. But yes, I 1000% agree with this one. Sleep is like so important. It's crazy.
Everyone will say 10 p.m., won't they? One of the truths that not many people ever like to think about is that the time that you spend in bed is not the same
As your
as the
sleep.
hours of
That's
sleep
correct.
that you get. This ring is very expensive. It's like $300, $400, but it tracks your sleep meticulously. And when you track your sleep with a device like this, you realize that there's such a thing called sleep efficiency. And sleep efficiency is kind of like the percentage of time that you are asleep of the time that you're actually in bed. And a good sleep efficiency is 80%. You know what that means? If you want 8 hours of sleep, like what's recommended by all these people, if you want higher testosterone, sleep at least 8 hours a night. You've always heard that, right? If you want 8 hours of sleep, you need to be in bed for 10 hours. If you need to wake up at 6 a.m., you need to go to bed at 8 p.m.
Fair.
No one is doing that. So
Fair.
you need to right now not think that this is talking about someone else. You need to hold your hand up right now and say, fuck, my sleeping pattern could use some improvements.
Correct.
I will do it right now. My sleeping pattern could use some improvements. When you track your sleep, you realize just how shitty sleep you're actually getting, even though it kind of felt okay. The fifth bad habit that's keeping you weak is a poor modern Western diet, fast food and sugar. I'm not going to spend much time on this because it's just common fucking sense. If you're eating shit, if your diet isn't great and you're eating quite like processed, it is, right? A lot of people will just spend so long grilling you on it, but no one will tell you what is literally the most practical, specific advice that you can do to like, how do you actually start eating healthier? No one actually gives you good advice on that.
Step one to eating healthy: make your food at home. That's step one. Like, start making food at home and use natural whole foods and ingredients and stuff like that, because it does get a little bit tricky, because there's a lot of things that are out on the market and they look good and they look healthy for you, and the marketing on the packaging looks good and it looks healthy for you, but in reality it's not. It's a deep dive into like, okay, is this healthy, is this not healthy? But baseline is cook at home, one, and two, look at ingredients. If you see a whole bunch of chemicals on the labels and you can't even pronounce these chemicals, you don't know what these chemicals are, chances are they're highly processed and it's not going to be good for you. So when I had my nutrition class back in college, the professor told me that notice how everything that's quote unquote good for you in grocery stores are on the perimeter of the grocery store and not in the middle aisles. And it made, like, as soon as she told me that, like, I would go to the grocery store and I'd notice everything on the outside is the produce, the dairy, a little bit of the bread. Bread is controversial. And then the produce, the fruits, the vegetables, the everything was on the outside, and then on the inside aisles you got all the cereals, the candies, the juices, the processed this and that. So all's that to say, number one, cook at home. Number two, shop on the perimeter of the grocery store. That's a very good start right there. And then after that, you got to dig deep into what ingredients are bad for you and this and that, like but in general, just stay away from all the chemicals and the processed stuff on the labels, and then just shop the perimeter. But yeah, so that's my advice to you. If you seem like you're a little bit lost with trying to eat healthy and stuff like that, just follow those two things, in my opinion. But again, yes, poor diet is very, very critical to your health and how your days go and everything like that.
People tell you, oh, well, eat fruits and vegetables. But they don't tell you, okay, how can a guy who's normally eating 3 to 4 unhealthy meals per day, how can he actually transform that realistically in a way that he literally would do? The specific advice that you can implement is literally choose 1 meal a day to change to a meal that is just entirely of vegetables, specifically potatoes, as like the main carb source. And then if you are a meat eater, with a bit of meat. So essentially just 1 meal per day, have salmon, chicken, whatever you can like bake in the oven alongside a bunch of vegetables like potatoes drizzled in olive oil. And that is like 1 meal that's now incredibly healthy. It's very minimally processed compared to like all the bullshit that you get from like McDonald's, like hyper processed foods. It's easy to cook and it'll even taste nice if you bake it and you actually drizzle it with olive oil. And olive oil is very healthy as well. Finally, the last habit.
Man, it's tough for me to enjoy fast food now, especially now that I eat pretty clean at home. Um, Shout out to Steve Moyer, my culinary instructor back in high school. He taught me a lot about cooking, and I still use those things that I learned in high school to this day. Like I still use a lot of the techniques and how to make food and how to cut and how to what I mean? Like all the skills that I learned, I still use to this day. But I can't eat fast food very, very frequently, and let alone like food from a restaurant, because I'm so used to eating clean and knowing exactly what's in my food. Like I had Chick-fil-A maybe 2 years ago, like a Chick-fil-A meal, the grilled chicken sandwich with the fries, a lemonade. It was delicious, absolutely delicious. But at that time, I didn't know that there was like 36 chemicals in Chick-fil-A at all, and I had no idea, and I just kind of wanted to enjoy a meal. You know what I mean? That Chick-fil-A tore my stomach up so bad, so bad. Like the whole rest of the day was done. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere for the rest of the day because it just tore my stomach up so bad. So when you go from eating clean to cheating and getting, highly processed foods and stuff like that, your body will let you know, like, yo, what the hell are you doing? What the you about to pay for this? You about to pay for this. I'm gonna make sure that you're never gonna eat this shit again, and I'm gonna tear your ass up. We're gonna be in the bathroom for a long time. So once you build that habit of eating clean, it's a little bit difficult to go backwards, especially if number one, you're seeing results with your body. Your body starts to change, you're losing weight, gaining muscle, whatever. And I lost my train of thought. Let's keep going.
Habit that's keeping you weak is
It's hard to go backwards because like you see the changes and then your body will let you know. You know what I mean?
it's a lot less like practical. It's more wishy-washy, but it's maybe one of the most important. And it's being emotional. You've been convinced as a young man that you should be in touch with your emotions, that you should show your emotions, you should be in touch with your feminine side. That makes you weak. If you want to be weak, if you want to not have the respect of the people in your life, if you want to lose the attraction of women in your life, you should follow that bullshit advice that's pushed down young boys' throats when they're in school. Be emotional. It's okay to be weak. Be in touch with your fuck off. Be in touch with your emotions. Now, that isn't to say that you shouldn't be aware of them. Meditation is amazing for this. Meditation will make you aware of your emotions with more of a distance. Journaling does a very similar thing, and just being away from technology and stimulation and just spending time in like nature will allow you to observe your emotions at a distance. That's an incredibly powerful skill because a man who can't do that is fucking worthless. I will say this again. A man who cannot control his emotions is worthless. And now, yet again, your like dumbass fucking Jeffrey brain lack of humility thinks that I'm talking about someone else. This may be one of the first times that you actually hear the cold hard truth, like the shit that you don't really want to hear, but you needed to hear. You are likely an emotional young man. You have been raised, conditioned, brainwashed to be emotional. That makes you worthless as a man. man. No one will speak to you in this way because everyone's so used to sugarcoating things and just saying, we're all beautiful, shut the fuck up. If you cannot control your emotions as a man, you are worthless. You must look into what is called stoicism. It's kind of like a philosophy, but it's more so a way of living. Stoicism, and then also get into those practices, meditation, journaling, time away from like stimulating content. You'll never stop having emotions. Remember this. You will always get emotions. Bro, I really didn't want to record these videos today. Honestly, I just didn't really feel like it. It's 11:54 a.m. right now. I was supposed to start at 10, and I literally just kept on pushing it off, feeling like a little bitch. Oh, you know, I'll do it later. Maybe I should go eat first because muscle protein synthesis.
That's kind of how I felt with doing this video too. I kept pushing it off, but here we are.
And all this other shit. I was like, bro, fuck this. Like, the reason why I'm not recording right now is simply because I don't feel like it. Fuck what I feel like. If you allow your emotions to dictate your actions, you will live such a pathetic existence as a man. No one will respect you. No woman will be attracted to you. You must create a distance between yourself and your emotions. Now, that means that you will feel the emotion of being a little.
So, this might seem controversial as well. I do believe that men should express their emotions, but I also think it should be to other men. If you're gonna cry in front of your homies, your dad, your brother, your uncle. But I have been told this as a kid, and I'm realizing this as an adult as well. Like, I think whoa, I can't even talk. Chicks will definitely see you as weak if you start crying about whatever, unless it's like, you know, a death in the family or something like that. But in other than that, like, I think chicks will definitely perceive you as weak. Um, and I think you also will be weak if you do, you know, cry in front of a whole bunch of people and stuff like that. Like you said, if you can control your emotions, it makes you stronger for sure. You don't have to lash out every single time, whether it's crying or anger. You know what I mean? Like, if you let one person say like a joke to you that hits you, and it's supposed to be a joke and stuff like that, but it hits you differently, there's nothing wrong with having that emotion of like, damn, that joke really hurt my feelings. But like, you getting extremely angry and lashing out on this person, I think that makes you weak as well. But going back to um I think it's like a Jubilee video of a dude, of it was like 5 dudes and 5 chicks on each side, and then they were asking each other questions, and one girl was like, "Oh, what was the last thing that made you cry?" And then one of the dudes opened up about his best friend committing, you know, the self delete. That's the word. I'm getting used to these YouTube censored words because I'm not trying to, you know what I mean, get blocked or whatever. But anyways, he was talking about how his best friend self deleted, and then at the end of them asking questions, the ladies had to rank the dudes in terms of attractiveness, and they all ranked that dude that because he started crying in front of them, and they were all like, "Oh my gosh, give me a hug!" Da, 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 da. He started crying in front of them, and then all the ladies ranked that dude the least attractive, and they were like, "I don't know, just, you know, him crying, I just didn't know what to do. It just made me feel uncomfortable." It definitely does something to the psyche. You know what I mean? Whenever you see, again, this is what I believe. Whenever a woman sees a man crying, like, it definitely brings their level of, I don't even want to say respect, but like, the perception is altered, pretty much, put it that way. So again, going back to what Hamza said, like, I think it's very beneficial to learn to control your emotions, for sure, for sure.
Bitch, you will feel the emotion of stress and anger, guilt, shame, whatever. You will feel these emotions, but you do not allow them to control you.
Correct.
And in fact, you start to control your emotions. Now, how can you reverse these bad habits? Because you've probably tried to, like quit porn and go on to semen retention and no fat and take a detox away from like social media and video games and, try a new diet. You've probably tried those things and you've probably struggled a little bit. The reason why is because all of the habits that we've just spoke about are not actually problems. They are symptoms. All of these things are symptoms of the real core problem, the plight of modern young men, and it is mental health. Your biggest problems right now are not problems, they are simply just a symptom of your poor mental health. I've made videos on mental health that you can find. You can just search like Hamza mental health onto YouTube or click on my channel and you'll be able to find them. If you invest your time instead about learning and then improving your mental health, you'll find that these bad habits, they'll automatically with ease start dropping away from your life. A person with good mental health does not jack off 6 times a day. A person with good mental health does not eat shit food. A person with good mental health has good sleep. Focus on mental health first and you'll find that all of these other things just fix themselves. Click on this video to learn more right now. Do the hard.
That's very true. It's I remember when I had just got out of college, and I'm gonna go back to this. And I thought my life was supposed to be perfect. And because I had graduated, got a bachelor's degree, I'm making money as a dental hygienist. Things are starting to flow, but it wasn't at the same time. Like the bills were hitting me hard, the student loans were hitting me hard, and I felt empty. It feels like I was hoping to reach that achievement of graduating and then everything is going to be perfect, and it wasn't. And I fell in the spiral of literally everything that he was talking about. Playing a lot of video games after work. There was one time where I had ordered a whole pie, and mind you, Jersey pizzas, right? So I ordered a whole pie and some wings, and I destroyed everything in one sitting. Everything. The whole pizza, all the wings. And like just thinking back, I'm like, yo, that was absolutely horrible. Like, why did I do that? The whole pizza to myself. Usually it's like 1 or 2 slices and then we're good to go. But a whole pie, destroyed it. Bad diet, video games, poor sleep, all of these things that he just mentioned is what I used to do. And I had mental health issues. You know what I mean? Like I had a panic attack. I had an anxiety attack after I went through an interview because I simply forgot to answer one question specifically the way that I wanted to. And I had a full-blown meltdown because I thought I wasn't going to get the job. Um, Luckily I did, but still, like I had a whole shutdown. And that was the moment where I was like, okay, there's something wrong. And then that's why I'm like, all right, I want to do better for myself and for my life, and I don't want to be in this state of mind forever of having anxiety and depression and just being low and feeling like there's a dark cloud above my head just raining all the time. You know what I mean? Like I wanted change. I wanted to do something different. And so I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to move across the country and just try and focus and lock in on developing my 2.0 self. You know what I mean? So all that to say is that like when I experienced that whole thing of like there's something wrong, started going to therapy, started hitting the gym, and things just slowly started to 360 for me. Slowly. It was a very slow and long process. And you fall off the wagon a couple times and then you get right back on it, and back and forth, back and forth. And I'm still doing that. You know what I mean? There's still little things that I'm like, dang, I wish I never done this, and that. And we get back on the wagon. But it's a long journey. It's a long process. And I feel like the earlier you figure out that there's something wrong and you don't really like your life, the earlier you realize that, the better, because time moves very quickly. Like I'm about to be 30. That's crazy. So imagine being 35 years old and you're still in that state of like anxiety, depression. Like life is moving, and I don't mean to like put a timeline on when things should be, but like life is moving very, very quickly. The next thing you know, we're going to be 40, 50, 60, and then you know what I mean? Like what's the rest of your life going to look like, you know? So that was a pretty good video. It definitely helped me reflect on what I used to go through and what I'm currently going through. Definitely the bad sleep is something that I want to improve on for sure. I feel like if I get a good night's sleep, a good night's rest, I can literally do anything. I can conquer the whole day very, very effortlessly. I have energy when I go to work. I'm joking around with people instead of me just going to my little, unit and just focusing because I'm dead tired and I don't want to talk to anybody. Like I want to be that vibrant person that, lights up the room when he walks in, you know what I mean? And it's hard to do that when you're tired all the time. So, but yeah, that's the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for your boy. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm going to keep doing more of these reaction videos for sure for many, many reasons. I think people need to hear and see what some of these YouTubers are saying about mental health and self-development, self-improvement, and all that stuff. And it helps me reflect on some stuff too, for sure. So stay tuned for more of these videos. It's your boy Agnel encouraging you to try something new. I'll catch you next time. Peace.